Hi folks, this is Vicki from patternprincess.com. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to show you how I work this these spike stitches and also the shawl. I'll do a refresher on the shawl. I'd actually posted a purple shawl just with the same pattern, but I'll post so you don't have to go look for it. I'll make sure that this post includes how to do the shawl, but I really thought that having these spikes on the end of it here would really give it a cute look. I'll show you how to work this. This is actually using the Red Heart Unforgettable yarn. The shawl itself took 2 skeins. This is called Pearly. And then I am actually in the process of working this shawl. When I do the stitches in this shawl, I am still in process. I'll show you right on my shawl that I am currently making how to do this stitch. And so far, well, as you can see, I'm almost to the tip of the shawl here. I'm about 10 rows from the tip. And I haven't used, not even a half a skein here. So it's just a partial skein for the spikes on the end, but it is 2 full skeins for the shawl itself. Just to give you a little bit about what I'm using in size H hook, and it's a 5.25 millimeter. This is 54 rows that way. I started at the tip here and I work it up to the top. It is 24 inches long from the tip here to the middle top. The top on the very top wide end is 54 inches wide. And what else do I need to tell you? I think that that's probably what you need to know until we start working on the stitches here. So I'm going to show you first how to work the shawl, and then after I show you how to work a few rows of the shawl, then I'm going to continue on my shawl that I'm working on here and show you how to do these spike stitches. I thought once what the neat part of this was, and you can see the back of it here too, it looks really nice no matter which way it's laying. Now that I see this yarn here, it reminds me to tell you. So I had, in working the shawl itself, in both of the skeins and on the side here, glad I kept those in there. I had actually cut out a little bit of white yarn. It made a really, just a partial row of white here and up near the top. And I thought it really, it took away from the beauty of the way that the other colors I thought blended, in my opinion. It was just my opinion on this. And also, I would have had a swatch of about this, maybe 2-3 inches, maybe, of this white yarn. And I just thought it would, I don't know, I thought it would be more detracting than adding to the beauty of the shawl. So I cut it out, okay? So just in case, just don't be afraid, if this is your first shawl, to cut out the yarn and make the yarn as the colors change something that you like. Don't be afraid to make it your own. So this is the back side of it. This is the front side of it. So I have to weave my ends in yet. They do as I'm working on it tend to curl up, but I think that because I scrunch it up as I'm working on it, once a person wears it, and as you can see, just I take my hands and flatten it out, it lays down nicely. I think some of these are up like this just because I haven't done a thing to them yet. And if I just flatten them out for a second, they start to lay down really nice. So as you can see how they are. So I'm going to start here now by showing you how to work on the shawl, okay? I'm going to just use some leftover white yarn that I have to work this. So the very first, we start on the tip to work this shawl right here. We're going to start right there, but it's a really easy pattern. Again, this is how I start my yarn. I put my fingers through, turn it, bring them around, stick my hook through, grab one of the loops. Boop, there's my slip knot. Okay, so I'm ready to get started. I wrap my fingers around the yarn like this. I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, in that very first loop right here, I'm going to do 3 double crochets. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Row 1 is done. It's probably the fastest row you're ever going to do. Turn it. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. This row 2 pattern is the pattern that you're going to work the entire way. Now, if you noticed, right in that same stitch, I yarned over because I'm going to do 2 more. I was too busy talking. I'm going to do 2 more double crochets right there, and that'll be my first cluster of 3 double crochets by doing the chain 3 and 2 double crochets. Then I'm going to chain 1. Then I'm going to, this is that cluster, in the end of that cluster, this is that first cluster I did of 3 double crochets, and the top end stitch of this cluster here, this, right, I'm going to come over here, put my yarn through, and I'm going to complete 3 double crochets. 1, 2, whoopsies, now if I can keep it all on my yarn hooks on here, that'd be good. 3. All right, row 2 is done. We're going to turn it, and again, this is a repeating pattern. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. The only thing you're going to do is keep getting bigger. In that first stitch here, you're going to put your hook right back in and do 2 more double crochets. So there's 1, 2. Now, every time that you come across this cluster like this, you're going to chain 1. So in the middle of the chain 1 spot, you're going to do 3 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3. Chain 1. And then the top stitch of that last set of 3 double crochet here, you're going to complete 3 double crochet. 1. Whoopsies, I gotta get the same one. 2. Okay, 3. Turn. And I'm going to do this row, and then I'll show you, I'll go on to the spike stitches. 1, 2, 3, because it's just a repeating. In that first stitch, 2 more double crochet, and I've got to get more yarn. Pardon me, just 1 second here. There we go. And then chain 1. And then in that first chain 1 space of the previous row, do a 3 double crochet, 2, 3, chain 1. Every time you have this 3 double crochet, you're chaining 1. In that chain 1 space, 3 double crochet, and 3. And I didn't grab enough yarn. There we go. Chain 1, and then in that top stitch again, you're going to go ahead, I can't even get it here. There we go. And you're going to do your 3 double crochet, and I'll show you on the shawl that I'm working on how far we've come already. 2, 3. Okay. And you would just keep going on. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows done. So here is, now this is a little bit different type of yarn. This is not the same yarn as what I used here. This was Caron Simply Soft. It's a little bit thicker yarn. But as you can see, it doesn't quite line up because this is a very thin, skinny yarn that I have worked this shawl with. But doesn't that look nice? And I could just continue on, and I could make this shawl in a white if I wanted to. So, all right, that's how you do the shawl. So now let me show you how to do these spike stitches on what I'm working here. As you can see, I got my big loop here. I'm going to be right on it. Okay, now I'm ready to show you here. So each of the long ones here is a chain of 8. The shorter one is a chain of 5. And I've just been alternating. If I've done a chain of 8, I do a chain of 5. Okay, but this is very simple to do. If you can slip stitch and you can chain and you can single crochet, you can do this. I'm going to get my yarn back in here. Okay, so what I do, I've just ended with the slip stitches back into the first row initial stitch here. So when I just go to the next stitch. Like when I'm done here, I'd go to that part. That way they're nice and close. Otherwise, I think they'd be too sparse and look silly on it. So I'm going to just bring my hook right here, do a single crochet. Now, since I've done the chain 8, I'm only going to do a chain 5, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then in the second chain from the hook, I'm going to slip stitch. And I'm going to bring it, just all I do is I slip stitch back down in every single stitch. That's all it is slip stitching back down. And then I also do these 2 loops from the single crochet. I think it just holds it steady, brings it nice, makes it look nice and, you know, sturdy. And then also, because if I went to the next one, I just think it, you know, it just wouldn't look quite as finished. So then I go ahead and I slip stitch right back into that same stitch I started with. Okay, and of course, like I said before, these are get kind of crunchy because as I'm working on it, I'm crunching them up. I'm not, you know, but they straighten out as you just have them lay flat. But I kind of crunch them around as I'm working on this. All right, so we're going to do the next one. So I'm going to just bring my hook right to the next area here. This is where we did, this is where we would have done a double crochet on the side, right? So just in that double crochet space, I'm just going to insert my yarn, do a single crochet. Now I have to chain 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then in the second chain from the hook, you're going to put your hook through, grab your yarn, and bring it through the loop. So we're going to slip stitch again all the way back down. All the way back down. Just got a couple more stitches to go here. I should have some music or something in the background for you so you can have something to listen to, and I'm just quietly working. There we go. There we go. And then right back into that first one. There. And then we're going to, in this spot here, I'm going to single crochet. And then we're going to work 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second chain from the hook. We're going to slip stitch. I would say that this is more tedious than working the shawl itself. But I thought one of the nice things about this, doing some kind of an embellishment on the end of the shawl this way, of course, my daughter, you know, she likes things a little bit more hip because she's, you know, she's 23, so she's young, and so I just thought that this would be really a cute embellishment on this, and it's something that you can launder this with. It's not going to come out like if you add regular fringe, and now I'm on to the 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and now we're a second chain from the hook. Start slip stitching back. But anyways, as you launder this, when you launder something with that just has fringe on it, unless you would take it, and I thought about doing this with some of my things that I've added fringe to, unless you take it and you run along there with maybe some fishing line, you sew it on there, and you maybe just sew back and forth across the whole thing, that would help secure any of your fringe that you've ever added on anything, and I think that you could launder it then if you needed to. Otherwise, I'm not sure how you would be able to launder something with fringe that's just normally fringe on it and have it stay. So this here, I really think that this method would be something that you could launder and not have this come out. So I've just done three or four of those for you. I don't even know how many. And it's nice because then the color changes too, right along with the shawl. And again, remember, I cut out those white spots. But see, I just take it and fluff it out, and it just stays nice. I just think it's really cute. So I hope that this has inspired you and gives you a project to use with this unforgettable yarn from Bret Hart. I think it's a really nice yarn. There is, like I said, a couple spots where I didn't think that the colors were right. There was one spot that had, I don't know, something was messed up with the yarn. You know, sometimes you get it real fat in a spot, and so I had to cut that out and join that was a spot I didn't want to have show up in the shawl here. But otherwise, I think that this, I love the way that the yarn is variegated. It's nice soft yarn. I think this would feel very nice and light on. And I might make 2 of these triangle shawls and try and make a poncho kind of a thing on it. I don't know, we'll see. I'll have my daughter come over as a model, and we'll see if we can size it on her and see if I can figure something out. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this helps you create. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.